So we are Team Parker, and today we're going to talk about, as part of our TEDx presentation, we're going to talk about just the whole dating scene on campus, and for ladies, how to better find a husband, and, or as we say, fantastic husbands, and where to find them. So spirituality is clearly a priority that girls look for, but there's kind of a con to that. See, you can measure it by church calling. Now, as you can see, spiritual desperation can be a side effect. That's usually things like sucking up to your bishop, using your calling to find women. The list goes on. So let's just look at some callings here. Elders Quorum president. So clearly, in the corner, it's a great church calling, but the guy is clearly spiritual desperate. He probably sucks up to his bishop. He was probably an AP in his mission. Ward clerk. Now this is an interesting one. Clearly, it's far on the right side of church calling, so it's a significant calling. But it is not that spiritually desperate. So you're starting to get towards a better zone. Not as good as the executive secretary. There's a great church calling because nobody wants to be an executive secretary. If you find an executive secretary, you marry him on the spot.
I was executive secretary once. I don't see it once.
Break the fast committee. That is something that is just spiritually desperate, and it's not that good of a calling. You're not going to find love if you... I'm joking, that's what I was. Golden zone, clearly. That's what you want to shoot for. Musicology. This one's an interesting one. Obviously, girls want a guy that's musical, but that has a high price. Weirdness. As you can see, this area right here, these are just tone-deaf people. They can't sing at all. They're clearly weird. But as you go a little bit more along, you become more and more musical, you become a little bit cooler. Now there's a sudden curve. Why is this? Where might we find these guys? So in the R.B. Smith and Field House, that's where we'll find our tone-deaf guys. The Tanner Building. They're a little bit more musical if you're a business major. JKB, you'll start to get some of the interesting studies that are sometimes inclined to more musical abilities. HVAC. Now notice this red line is the average, right? So if you are in the HVAC, you're not even that musical. You're just weird. Not as weird as the Wilk. You will find those guys that play the piano in the middle of the Wilk trying to get the attention of women. Not a good thing. You're not even that musical, you're just weird. Now, outside buildings, the people that sing to themselves as they walk between classes, avoid. Do not marry them. Okay, spiritual and smart. So what might these guys study? And what's the con? Okay, the likelihood that they converse with themselves is pretty high, as you can see. So math and chemistry. If you're studying math or chemistry, chances are they'll talk to themselves. I talk to myself all the time. Law or business, those guys tend to be a little bit more sane. Computer science, those guys talk to themselves a lot. They're smart. They're smart. Sociology. This one is an interesting one because you're not going to talk to yourself, so don't worry about it. Now, I'll bring on my next associate.
Cool. So here's an essential characteristic for any good husband, Braun. So as we can see, this is best developed at Vasa Fitness. So on the x-axis here, we have time spent at Vasa compared with priesthood worthiness. So you can notice that the general trend is decreasing. So it's important to find the right balance because both of these aspects are very important. And it's perfectly okay to trade some worthiness for some better abs. As Psalm 24:4 famously says, you must have clean hands and a pure heart, unless, of course, you're absolutely ripped. Here we have the no-go zone. This is a below a 5 on the Vasa scale. This is where you find your CS majors, your math majors, anyone from Centennial. You're going to avoid this. The only reason you want to venture into this zone is if they're rich. So here we have the fun zone. You can hang out with these guys, but you want to move into a more permanent zone on the right side. But it's important to note the danger zone down here. So this is where you find your Chads, your Brocks, your Jasons, anyone from the village. You want to stay away from this zone. It spells trouble. Next we have the date zone. This is getting closer to what we want. We want to be a little bit more worthy for the husband zone. So this is generally what you're aiming for. And just above that, you'll note the Nephi zone. So these men are larger stature and super spiritual, but don't expect to find any because the last one lived in 600 BC. Yeah.
All right. So the next quality you have is honesty, and honesty is very important in a relationship, and it's definitely something you want to look for in a future husband. But just like the other qualities, we have another thing that goes along with that, and that's the amount of filth and their sense of humor. like how dirty their sense of humor is. So you see the general trend is as the more honest a man is, the dirtier his sense of humor is. And so the first zone we're going to look at, or before we go on, it's important to realize that the actual level of corruption in men's brains is at that level, and there are no exceptions to this, even at BYU. But that's just something you have to deal with. And their sense of humor is just how much they're willing to portray that. So the first zone, this is the no-go zone. These are the men that are not going to be honest with you at all, and you don't want to associate with them at all, no matter what their sense of humor is, because they're just going to lie to you. The next zone is the fun zone. This is the guys that are going to be fairly honest, but they have a fairly dirty sense of humor as well. But at the same time, it's fun to joke around with them. It's fun to play. These are the guys that you play Cards Against Humanity with, and you hang out at their apartment, whatever. The next zone. This is the date zone. They're going to be pretty honest with their intentions with you, but at the same time, they can still have there's still some sickos out there that you gotta be cautious of. And so yeah, that leads us to our last zone, which is the husband zone, which they're gonna be very honest with you, and their sense of humor, it's gonna be a little more toned down, which is what you want. But then we've got one last zone. This is the Abe Lincoln zone. So as we know, he's very, very honest. That's why he gets his own zone. But we don't really know how dirty his sense of humor is. So that's why he gets this long, skinny column in the right. So goes for next.
Alrighty. So, talk about money, and money. We want to look for someone who can provide for you. Yeah, that's very important. So, and we found a correlation between salary potential and humility. And this is the correlation. As humility increases, usually salary potential decreases. And then we also found out we're going to compare with some buildings on campus. So let's go on journey with me. We're going to go to Tanner Building, Pride Building, Talmadge, Benson, LSB, RB, JFSB, Swicket, JKB, and so these are the buildings you can generally find these kind of people. Okay, there's the golden zone, so with high humility and high salary potential. Who are these people? These are your M. Russell Ballards, or Noah Andersons, and Gary Stevenson. You can go Google their net worth. It's awesome. And these are the green zones, and as you can see, those correspond with these people in these buildings. So as you can see, it covers the Benson, SB, a little bit of Swicket, and yeah. And then there's also the danger, though. Who are these people? These are the summer cells people controlling the summer cells solar panels. And there's the dirty money zone. It's low humility, but you got high salary potential, but it just depends. You have to think about what kind of husband you want. Is it just a lot of money, but with being a jerk? Or there's also the sackcloth and they're great humility, but you also want them to be able to provide for you. So these are just some thoughts to think about. And there's conclusion.
So in conclusion, as you can see, we've designed the ultimate husband.
So the first thing we want to be looking for is they probably want to be an RM, and they're a hard worker, and German is a really good language to learn on your mission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you definitely want to have someone who studies something lucrative, and so engineering, math, be a little bit careful, but then also writing.
So you want to have smart and humble. We associated this with names. Anyone whose name is Tiancum, Spencer, Parker, or of course Ian.
Mm-hmm. Also, knowing karate for defense and self-defense. That will be very useful in the future.
Clearly, you want someone who can provide defense as well as money. So after running the numbers.
Yep.
That looks so young and happy.
Thank you. That was Team Parker, and that's our presentation.
I need to send it to my wife. She'll appreciate it.